Every damn day.
Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today we have on the show our good friend Candice, and we're going to talk about growing up in the 60s and being an activist and Inside Peace, a movie we're going to be premiering here on Wednesday at 7?
7 o'clock, doors open at 6:30.
All right. So we'll talk about that more and promote that a little bit more as we get there. But let's start out with you. You want to go with the question you said earlier? What kind of kid were you?
Yeah, I was saying to Jerry that Letterman always used to ask people that question. And I thought that's such a great question because I think it puts people at ease because there's so many things that we feel nervous talking about. But one thing we know for sure is what kind of kid we were, you know? Yeah. And so for me, in a nutshell, without getting into a lot of the details, I had a very difficult childhood. Lots of fear, lots of anguish, lots of sadness. I was physically ill from the time I was born. Mentally, my mother, a very difficult childhood. I was the second oldest of 5 children. I had 7 children. I had 5 younger brothers, and my sister and I were the oldest. And it was just very, very difficult. So for me, the thrill I just turned 74 on May 9th.
Happy belated birthday.
I know. And for me, I love to say, if I can feel the kind of joy and contentment and peace that I feel at my age, then anybody can. There's no excuse because I've been through a lot. Yeah. And I am so grateful to be grateful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the word that's the feeling, that's the thing that you do to really find peace is to be grateful.
Gratitude is everything.
The smallest of things, this water.
It's everything. Gratitude is everything. Yeah. And it's the balm for everything, you know. When you experience loss of a loved one, the biggest balm is gratitude, you know. I mean, you've lost somebody. I've lost my brother, who was more like my son, and the rest of my siblings, actually, I have 5 living siblings, and none of us talk to each other.
Oh,
so,
really?
What I was thinking today when I was, I do a practice to connect inside. I do it every day for 50 years, and I was doing it today. And most days, I just relax and enjoy it. But knowing I was coming here, the thoughts between the head were going, "What are you going to talk about? What are you going to say?" And then I would just bring it back down, just calm down, just speak from the heart. But what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. But
anyway, you were talking about your 5 brothers.
Oh yes, I was going to
5 living siblings.
Yes, I was. Thank you. I was going to say that I'm so aware that there are people who will watch this, people who have met me or maybe even know me well. And there's going to be such a range of reaction to seeing me here talking. I know there are people out there. Well, you know, the woman who tried to kill me. So it ranges from people who want me dead to people who think I'm an angel. And none of it matters. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let any of it matter. You can't let that define you, you know? And that's such a challenge, as we know.
Yeah.
People always say, I don't give a shit what people think, but that's not the same as being at peace with who you are and really knowing that you cannot give your time and energy to caring about what people think because you can't change people's minds. Yeah.
Well, I've got a few things that I want to unravel, I think, there.
Okay.
Let's start with there's 5 of you, so 2 have passed?
Well, there were 7.
So now there's 5?
So now there's 6.
Oh, 6.
Me.
Oh. So none of you talk. No. Are you at peace with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So many people, you know, will give you the usual line, oh, you're going to be so sorry if one of them. It's like, no, I'm not. This is my choice. Choice is another great word, isn't it? We could talk about choice all day long. I mean, we have so much choice, and people love to dispel that. Oh, I don't have any choice. No, we have so much choice. And it's been difficult. I mean, knowing that there's 5 people out there who I grew up with, who I changed their diapers, and, you know, I loved my sister and I were so close because we were the ones that the burden fell on us. So we have a shared history of my mother being mentally ill and being taken in straitjacket out of our house when we were little kids. And my sister and I are left with these children to take care. So we have all this beautiful shared history, and we don't see each other. We don't talk. Some of it is political, which is, sounds petty, but that stuff for me can get pretty heavy duty. But it's just that we went in different directions in life. And, it's like I said, I don't want to get into a lot of detail about it, but I am at peace with it completely.
See, I wanted to ask that question because that is kind of the cliche response is, oh, you're going to regret it.
No.
And I wonder if people really do regret it.
Well, probably some people do. Yeah. I mean, one thing for sure, like I said earlier, what do you know for sure? One thing I know for sure at the age of 74, people say that wisdom comes with age. No. And you and I both know tons of older people who don't have an ounce of wisdom, who still have no gratitude, who don't know how to see the beauty, the joy, so wisdom does not come with age. And I think that some of my siblings were all older, but oh my God, the lack of wisdom in just being able to look at each other and say, sometimes it's not a regret, but like, especially with my sister, because we were the only girls. And it's like, I want to just say to her, don't you know what an incredible sister I am? And you're just going to throw that away? That's okay with you? But she's done that with her grandchildren and her children. Those are choices she's made. So I'm.
So what does wisdom come with? Why did 50 years ago you start doing this practice, or when did you get the gratitude mindset?
Oh, well, that's an ongoing thing every single day. All we have is today, and I know that's a cliche, but man, the older you get, the more. Without thinking about it, how many days do you think 70 years of life is?
Well, about 21,000.
You're right. It's 25,550. That's not much.
I didn't think about it, or
that's not much. Right. That's not much. Right. And think of, all those days, and someone like me has already spent most of them. So you think about I have a couple thousand if I live, long. It's just amazing how few days we have and how many of those we just blow through and don't even. But as far as wisdom, that is something you absolutely have to make an effort. You have to make such an effort. And I think a lot of people just really don't want to make that effort. Of course, a lot of people do want to make that effort. But one thing I know for sure is that no matter how much pain you have in your life or how many problems, especially the pain or the grief or anguish, just by getting rid of that doesn't mean that peace is just waiting right there. Peace, contentment, joy, clarity, those are things we have to pursue consciously. They're not automatic. And when I can remember being 12 years old, standing in a Catholic church and knowing that life had something to do with some incredible thing, not the God that human beings create, but I knew it. And I remember being in church and looking up at the adults and thinking, oh my God, they don't have a clue. And then it was like, oh my God, I'm screwed. What am I going to do? So I went to be a nun. And that lasted about 2 weekends because they were all bummed out. I said, now what am I going to do? Thank God I grew up in the because I graduated in 1966 from Charlotte, country town, little country girl, and came to Lansing, which was a big deal. And the hippies were here. And the hippies gave lost souls like me a place to hide. And thank God that was there because I had no clue. I really didn't think I could live in the world. And I was suicidal. I was suicidal, definitely. Thought about it a lot. And I still, now I write for suicide forums and young people from all over the world write to me and thank me because I'm one of the oldest people that's there saying, you're going to miss so much if you leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. You're going to miss so much. Because I never knew. I just thought, I can't live here. I don't have the skills. I don't have the skills to live in this world. And somehow, I stayed. And then at the age of 24, I met my teacher, who I'm still with. He was a 13-year-old boy from India. He had been speaking about peace since he was 4. And I'm not spiritual. I'm not religious. I don't relate to spirituality. I'm not condemning it, but I've never been that way. And I'm just very practical and pragmatic. And when I met him, he said, I can show you that it's in your body, it's physical, and that you can use your senses to feel this joy, this clarity, this understanding, this know thyself, with your body, with your senses. And I'm like, nobody ever said that before. And so in October of 1972, so 50 years of this October, I went to Detroit. I sat in a room with 30 people, and he showed us physical techniques to turn our senses. And there it was. Something we all know is there, but how to get to it when you want to, not just when you're having a good time, but when your choice is, I want to feel that. He gave me this tool, and that's what I do every day. And it's so practical.
That sounds, so we're going to be talking about Inside Peace,
Yeah.
the movie, and
Yeah.
it sounds like a fitting kind of transition into that, right? That finding of peace.
In the film,
Yeah.
he is the one teaching the prisoners. So it's the same course I took 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And they took it in prison. And in a way, I feel like we're kind of luring people to this movie with a story, a narrative about prisoners. But you and I both know they're no different than you and I. It isn't a story about prisoners. It's a story about human beings.
Right. So what I'm trying to get at is, what is that story? What is that, what's Inside Peace about?
Inside Peace is a film that I heard about in 2015. And it was directed by a woman who also shares the same teacher, Prem Rawat, that I have. And I somehow she lives in LA, and I ended up connecting with her. And I just was really interested in the film because it was about how the Prem Rawat Foundation had asked a prisons in San Antonio, Texas, if they could do a trial of trying to see if this program could help people inside who were locked up. And so it was the first of its kind trial. And now it's in 70 prisons or 70 countries around the world. And in some countries, in South Africa, it's mandatory that the prisoners go through the peace education class because the transformation is so profound. So anyway, I was invited to a premiere in Chicago in 2015, the Chicago Film Festival. And so I went there, and some of the guys who were in the film were out then, and they came, and they're just these beautiful cats, just beautiful. And they came and they got to speak in front of this audience, and they're so blown away because they're the stars of the film. People just end up falling in love with these guys. So then I said to the director, this woman, Cynthia Fitzpatrick, I said, I've always been into promotion and PR and stuff. I said, can I help promote this film? This is incredible. So long story short, I ended up going out to WKAR, Susie Elkins at PBS station, and gave her a private copy of the film because it wasn't released in theaters. And they were the first PBS station to air the film, and it ended up being aired on PBS stations all over the country because of WKAR being so open-minded.
Nice.
So it's been an incredible journey. So I've stayed connected to the film. The film has gone through different, sometimes it's just now available on the internet. So you can watch it online. I don't like to tell people that in Lansing because we want them to come here, but it's not online.
Are we going to have a discussion afterwards?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And not only that, you see, we're going to have people from other organizations and projects that are related to incarceration justice. So there's going to be other groups here that I want the guests to know about other projects, so many that you already know about. And most of them have not seen the film. And I worked with Michigan Department of Corrections for 3 years to try to get the class in one of the prisons in Michigan. And the guy loved it, or the guy that was the head of education or whatever. He just loved because there's DVDs and you watch them and then you discuss it with your fellow, participants. And that's where a lot of the learning comes. It's just people sharing with each other things that they never talked about before, because the course triggers conversations that you would probably be kind of almost embarrassed to talk about, especially big guys in prison, And so anyway, after about 3 years, somebody called me from Florida and said, guess what? The course is at Jackson Prison. And I said, how can that be? I've been working with these guys for 3 years and they haven't called me back. They said, a woman from the prison went to a national conference of prison educators, met a team from the Prem Rawat Foundation, and brought it back to the Jackson prison. And from what I hear, it's the first prison in the world, because a lot of them are using it. But this is the first prison in the world in Jackson where the inmates completely run the class.
Nice.
And they even said to me, stay away from them. And I was like, that's fine.
What's the objective of the class? Like, what's it doing for the prisoners? Or
I was going to bring a pamphlet because there's 10 modules.
The incarcerated. I don't want to call them prisoners. I'm sorry. I'm fixing that word.
Inmates, incarcerated. I was going to bring a pamphlet for you because there's 10 modules and each one has a topic. And I can't remember them all, but they're basically self-knowledge, understanding, contentment, clarity, peace, joy, all these things. So there's 10 modules and it's laid out in the most. Do you know who Tim Galway is that wrote Inner Game of Golf?
No.
Well, he is a student of Prem and he's been an educator for years. He lives, he does the Inner Game Institute, and he helped put this together. And so many of the prisons said, and not just prisons, but groups of all kinds use this. I've done the class here in town, but so many have said, we've been wanting to create something like this that's simple, but we just, never got around to it, or it was too hard. But Prem, you listen to him for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and that's maybe the whole class that day is on clarity. So they'll do excerpts of him talking about clarity. Then you write down what you learned from what he said, and then you discuss it. And that's the major part, like I said, is people talking to each other about what has been your experience with clarity or without clarity, or what do you think that could bring to your life. So it's 10 weeks.
So that's the who and the how.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the why. Like, what's the expected outcome? I'm incarcerated.
Okay.
Maybe I have a life sentence. Maybe I'm getting out in 20 years. I go into the class.
Yeah.
How am I transformed? What's the expectation of the class?
That you discover inner resources that you never knew you had. You absolutely, that's how I felt when they showed these techniques to me and they showed this class to me. It's like, I have that inside me, not just floating around the universe, but that's in me. That's who I am. That's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the prisoners, they find out who they really are.
So is that to make them more comfortable, to put them at peace? Is it with the hope that if they're returning citizens, that they're better returning citizens?
It's like being given a toolbox for life. In fact, there was an independent study done about this class as far as recidivism, and the rates are just unbelievable. In fact, in one country, they had to shut down 3 prisons within a certain region because nobody was coming back to prison. They had coping skills that they never had before. They knew themselves.
That's probably not the U.S. though, because we'll find ways to get people back in. It seems like
you'd be surprised, because I know the guys from this film.
No, it's probably not the one that shut down 3 prisons.
Oh no, God,
yes.
no.
We don't shut down prisons in this country.
No. And there's a man in the film, Dr. Michael Gilbert, who was one of the first people who started restorative justice, and he's phenomenal. And not in this country. He does this whole thing about the economics of prisons and why we keep them and stuff. But again, I don't like to focus on the fact that these are prisoners, because yes, it's important that it's so incredible that these guys are out, and out of the main cast of this film, only one guy had ended up back inside, and that was because he's a heroin addict, which is, of course, so hard. But he shouldn't be in prison, of course. He talks in the film about how his parents were heroin addicts. He's, the guy, why is he in prison? He shouldn't be in prison. He's such a sweetheart too, but anyway.
So let's take a look at the trailer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then we will come back and talk about that a little bit more
All
and
right.
finish up. So bear with me, everyone, and all of you out there in audio. Obviously, you're going to hear everything.
If I wanted something, I took it.
I came from selling drugs. I poisoned my neighborhood.
Yeah, baby, I'm on top.
For the past 20 years, 17 of those years have been locked up. I started hanging around the wrong crowds that introduced me to the needle. That's when I started to stay jail.
If you've never been told that you're worth it now.
My mom and my dad were heroin addicts.
I lost all contact with my heart.
All of that emotion will come out in actions that will get you into trouble.
They can't build prisons and produce a safer society. It is going to take something very different.
You are something living, existing, breathing, evolving human being.
I started to learn things about myself, that things don't have to be so complicated.
I don't need to put mask on anymore.
There's a lot of things you gotta do when you get out. All these obstacles you gotta go through. No longer have food, water, and shelter.
I've got a target on my back. It's not hard for me to go back to prison.
I'm panicking here, and I want to go back to my old way of living.
But everybody's still looking for that old person. They don't believe that somebody can change.
I'm sure what's happened last night, like life and death every day. But sometimes it feels like the find my life is just the same. To be free, to be me, to not feel like that's when I stand on the best and I'm tested. But all the other times I got burned. I'm most extreme inside. Sometimes it comes out of my mouth and I find yourself in the west. Give me one more day.
So that's the film we will be not premiering, but showing on Wednesday night.
Yes.
Again, 6:30 doors.
May
7,
18th.
May 18th. So coming up in 3 days.
Yeah.
So how long is the film?
It's just under an hour, so it's perfect time.
People come in between 6:30 and 7.
Try
We'll
to get
watch.
here right at the beginning. So, and hopefully we can keep things real quiet and focused during the film, and then we'll all break out. And I want to introduce all the other the heads of the different organizations that are representing, and just let people know that there's going to be information tables about other projects.
Okay.
And people can learn about this. And also, one thing that's really cool is that you can do this course online. This is fairly new. You can do it on your smartphone.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's at, we can talk about that later, but that's at a website called Timeless Today. And the course is called PEAK, Peace, Education, and Knowledge. So it's Timeless Today.tv, and then you search PEAK, and it's the modules are all there. It's just fantastic.
PEAK, like it, P-E-A-K.
P-E-A-K, yep. And I've redone the class many times because it's not just boom, you learn it and you're good to go.
Yeah.
It's every single day it's like starting over again. Although once you start building this foundation, it's so much easier to go back to those resources, because it's just so much awareness that is who I am. That's what I have available to me. Why not use it? But again, always about choice.
Yeah. So, who do you envision coming on Wednesday?
Well,
Not who you wish, because you
yeah.
probably wish everyone. 'Cause it probably
No,
would be
not
good.
really. Some people, we know some people just don't care,
Yeah.
and that's fine. No judgment. When I first showed it in 2016 in East Lansing, we had 100 people. And again, we invited people from different groups and stuff. So people from those groups came, but that's where I met Carol Seaman from the prosecuting attorney. And she was running at the time. And she came up to me afterwards and introduced herself. She was running for prosecuting attorney. And she said, if I am elected, I would love to learn more about this for Michigan's incarcerated. And I knew right away she was cool. But who do I hope will come? Anybody who feels that there are resources inside of them or inside of the people they love that they just haven't been able to connect with. And this is a very, very, very simple message. And that's where people get hung up, because we love it complicated, don't we? We human beings, we love it complicated. This is so simple, but so profound. And so it's not just for people who have friends inside or people who are just coming back to society, who need skills. It's for anybody who wants to know what it really is that we were packed with the minute we took our first breath.
All right. So, do you think another thing just for logistics, because it can help people, will we be done by 8:30, 9?
Let's see. That's a good question. So the film is an hour, and I think we'll be done by 9. But it's up to you, so as far as locking the doors. If it's a nice night and people want to hang out and talk, there'd be a lot of interesting people here from some of these other groups. And I will have information about how people can actually become facilitators of this class, the peace education class. It's amazing. It's the material, basically all you pay for are printed materials. The foundation, the Prem Rawat Foundation, wants this to be free. Prem always says, how can I sell you a car that you already own, Yeah. So there's information now. You can become a facilitator. It's such a simple class to present to your community, to your veterans groups. So many groups use it. And now there's even a version for younger kids, because Prem understands that their attention span is a little shorter. So there's a shortened version that's being used in schools all over the world. Just wouldn't that be amazing to have been told when you were a little kid, listen, you're filled with these unbelievable resources, and one day you'll be old enough, because he doesn't tend to show the techniques to people until they're a little bit older, and we'll definitely use them. It's not something kids don't need it. Most kids already feel these things. You know what I mean? They already know it. In fact, the first time I really started feeling it, it was like, yeah, I know this feeling. We all know this feeling. I just didn't know how to go to it.
So, as we kind of close up, what's your mission? What do you want?
Oh, that's great.
Like, what's the dent you want to make in the community?
That's great. My mission is, and especially the older I get, like I said, 74, I know I'm going to leave. We're all going to leave. I really don't want, the saying, don't hide your light under a bushel basket or something. So I'm sure I annoy the hell out of some people running my mouth about this. And I don't talk about it a lot. I consider it a very precious topic. So I don't blab about it. And that's why I'm so honored to be here with you, because I know that you consider this a precious topic too. And, so I want my life to be a representation of the possibility of being a human being in the truest, most beautiful, profound sense. And the difference it makes. Socrates said, know thyself. Why did he say that? Why has that been the message throughout the centuries? That nothing, that's the one thing about human beings that's never changed, is that we have always been packed with this joy, this beauty, this courage. That's one of the modules, is courage. The courage.
Do you think that people have lost touch with the human essence of kind of who they are, and maybe this
I think it
brings-
depends on where you live in the world. I mean, there's cultures that they don't need to be told about this. Bhutan, have you ever heard of Bhutan?
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know a guy from Bhutan. They don't have to be told about this. They live this every day.
Okay.
But yes, certainly, I consider the United States one of the darkest places on earth
Okay.
as far as consciousness.
As we got to wrap up here
Sure.
fairly quick. I'm trying to kind of get to your mission though. Like, what if I said, here's how you can help Candice right now, or here's how you can help our community?
Oh,
What is that question and what is that thing?
how you can
or-
help the community? Well, I mean, I don't really have a mission in that sense. I mean, nobody owes me anything. I don't expect anything. I'm not looking for gratitude or anything. I just want to tell people that there's this unbelievable hope, and that hope doesn't have to be as big as a room. It's it's so powerful. And I think, of course, in these times, we need so much hope that there is beauty in this life, no matter what. I know I'm not really answering
No,
your
it's
question,
okay.
am I?
It's okay. Yeah.
But I just want to, well, one of the things I love to do is to listen, believe it or not.
Okay.
I think listening is such a powerful form of kindness and love. And I love coming to the Fledge, you know I do, because there's so many young people here. And I just love to listen to them because they're all searching for this. Everybody's looking for this. This is not a want. This is a need, just like water. And if we didn't need it, we wouldn't have the desire for it. But because it's in us, nature makes us want it, makes us thirst for that. And it cannot be a belief. It absolutely, we talked about the other day, you have to feel it. It's an experience.
See,
Somebody said to me, you say you're not spiritual, then what is this? And I said, well, if anything, it's sensual. It's a physical feeling.
Yeah.
Joy and peace, it's just as anger and fear are physical. This is a physical feeling, and it's unbelievable. It's real.
All right. So 2 things I'll take out of that. Listen better, right? We should all listen to each other.
I'm the
better.
worst. I'm the worst.
We should. I'm not saying that. because
No,
of
I
that.
am.
And number 2, come to the movie Wednesday, the
Yes.
18th at the Fledge between 6:30 and 7 are the
Yeah.
doors. 7 o'clock the movie. 8 o'clock a discussion. You can float in and out when you want at that point. And
There's a sparrow parking across the street.
Yeah.
I just swallowed my cough drop. I have allergies. And so there's tons of parking across the street. Well, we're going to have a nice snack table. A dear friend of mine, Tim, is going to put out some little tidbits. And so we're just going to have a lovely time.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. That's another Every Damn Day. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Jerry.
Candice, for 1, coming on the show, for 2, being who you are, and 3, for showing this film at the Fledge
Thank you.
in a few days. So love y'all. We will go out with peace.